If you are against the Online Safety Act and want to overturn it, you are on the side of predators and paedophiles.
Hey everyone, how are we doing? I hope we're doing well. So you may have noticed recently I made a video about the UK's Online Safety Act and how it basically, in a nutshell, takes away your human rights, is disastrous for our country, and really needs to be stopped. And of course, shocking no one, our amazing government have ignored the cries of the British population yet again, and are not only continuing on with the Online Safety Act, but are doubling down on stupid dictator-like plans. Because now we have digital IDs. Yes, Keir Starmer and his gang of complete and utter amazing people are bringing out a digital ID scheme for the entirety of the United Kingdom. Now, these digital IDs are not mandatory, but if you want to work in the UK, if you want to own a vehicle in the UK, if you want to leave the UK, if you want to do anything in the UK and you're over the age of 16, although interestingly, they want to reduce that to 13. Remember when data collection on minors was illegal? Yeah, me too. The UK government doesn't care. If you want to do anything in the UK over the age of 16, or maybe 13, you're going to need this digital ID. So, here we go. 1984, dystopia. Honestly, this government is determined to just do anything in their power to be as unpopular as possible. Now, like with the Online Safety Act, there was a petition to get this horrendous scheme thrown out, and unlike the Online Safety Act, which only got a few 100,000 signatures, still very popular, but nowhere near the digital ID petition, which in about 12 days managed to get over 2 million signatures. That is a very substantial amount of signatures. That is one of the most popular petitions on record, especially in recent times. So what was the UK government's response to such a popular petition that indicates clearly that no one is in favour of this? They said, fuck you, basically. They just decided, nah, we're going to ignore that. We're going to do it anyway. Because they're twats, quite frankly. There's no other term for it. It was like, I tried to keep very calm, no language or anything in the Online Safety Act video. But now it's just, there's no point. It's like, they're not going to treat us with any decency, so why should I treat them? The Online Safety Act was bad enough. It still is disastrous. You should still absolutely not give them your ID. But now they're saying, well, we don't need your ID. We'll just force you to have a digital ID that we will store and we will use to track you everywhere. Not just online now. Now we can track where you go, where you're spending your time, where you're spending your money. Everything can now be tracked. And the utter bullshit that they are putting towards this is laughable. There are quotes from the UK government saying that digital ID is quote-unquote safer than physical ID.
You serious?
I want you to think about this for a second, right? Imagine you're a person who has a birth certificate, or a driver's license, or a passport. Suggest you have kept these to yourself. You have never uploaded pictures of these anywhere. Do you know what that means? If they're not online, do you know what that means? It means it can't be hacked. A piece of paper cannot be hacked. Anything that is online, regardless of what advanced safety and security they plan to have, which I guarantee you it will not be the best cybersecurity money can buy. I can almost guarantee that with absolute certainty. There will not be top level cybersecurity on this.
Oops.
But even if there was, it can still be hacked. Anything can be hacked. Nothing is unhackable. Except for something that isn't online to begin with. A piece of paper can't be hacked. No one can steal your driver's license if you keep your driver's license on you at all times and don't share it online. No one can take your birth certificate if you keep it in a safe place and don't, get robbed or something. Of course, people can get robbed. People can get mugged. People's houses can be broken into. But if your house gets broken into, that is 1 to, let's say, 6 people's ID that could be potentially stolen. If you're a hacker who hacks into whatever database these digital IDs are stored in, you have access to everyone's ID.
Oops.
Or let's say they break it up and it's like, okay, it's by, local authority, or by town, or by whatever. If someone hacks into this system, they're getting access to far more data than they would by breaking into a house. And data, nowadays, is usually worth more than anything you can steal from a house. So the incentive is much more there if you can hack somewhere, rather than, physically breaking into somewhere, stealing it. Because, quite honestly, the risk isn't as high off the bat. Like, if you are robbing a house, you're much more likely to get caught robbing a house than you are to get hacked, at least initially. A hack will obviously be noticed, a data breach will be noticed, but it takes time to find that. If you're in a house and you get caught robbing that house, you're caught immediately. Unfortunately, as we progress more and more towards a more digital future, the amount of hackers increases. The amount of hackers that increase, the more they will target big chances for your data. Because that's usually the goal behind hacking, is to get access to data or to expose some sort of vulnerability. If you get hacked and your digital ID is hacked, that means that someone has literally everything about you. There's not just an ID anymore. Now people can genuinely take your digital ID and start becoming you. They can have access to anything because so many things require you to provide photo ID. Digital ID will become a valid form of photo ID. People can apply for jobs under your name. People can get into your accounts by scanning it, etc. There's also a really funny sentiment that seems to exist in the UK government, which is genuinely hilarious. Basically, they, in their response, were on record quoted saying that basically, UK citizens are already quite happy to have digital, bank cards. Like, they're okay having their bank cards stored on their phone, so obviously they're okay with digital ID because they pay for things with their phones, so obviously they don't mind. First off, just out of interest, that's not the entirety of the British public. Not everyone wants their credit card, debit card on their phone. I, for one, I do not have my bank card on my phone. I cannot pay for things on my phone. I think it's a little bit of a vulnerability. But that's just me. That's my choice. But that's the thing. That's my choice. If you have your bank card on your phone and pay for things using your phone, that's your choice. You are not forced to do that. And, on top of it being your choice whether you can or cannot do that, there's also the thing that if your bank card gets stolen, you can go in and freeze it immediately. As in, okay, I dropped my bank card, it's fallen out my pocket somewhere, it's fallen out my wallet, my purse, whatever, okay? It's gone, it's been gone for about 20 minutes, I can freeze it, there's a good chance that nothing bad's gonna happen. I can get a new card sent out, there's no issue, right? Someone steals your bank card, it's frozen, it's useless. They can't get into it because it's been frozen or reported stolen, and it's done. Your digital ID gets stolen, do you think you're just going to be able to freeze it? Make sure and be like, oh, my digital ID got stolen. Well, here's the thing, you don't know when it's got stolen because it's part of a data center. You don't own it. It's not something you can decide where it is. It's stored in the cloud somewhere. And if it gets hacked, it's up to 3 days when the government notice that it's been hacked. They only have to report within 3 days of noticing the breach under GDPR, which, as we've seen, they're quite okay to change because, they want to roll out this digital ID thing for people 13 and under. So they could probably just change GDPR again to be like, well, we don't have to do that, do we? I mean, we don't need to report it, do we? I'm not saying they will do that, but I would not be surprised with the way they are going right now, with how they are screwing over your digital rights and general just scumbaggery, to be quite honest. There's no other word for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to change it. But they only have to inform you, currently, within 3 days of noticing the data breach. The data could have been out there for months before they notice. There's no way of knowing. It depends on how skilled the hacker is. It depends on if they leave tracks. It depends on what they do with it once they have it. You can't report your digital ID stolen because it's not something you physically own. It's not something you can keep track of. You are trusting them to tell you when there's been a breach in good time. I don't know about you, but personally, I don't trust them with something that important. And I don't think you should either. Also, by the way, on that point, anyone that still somehow manages to defend the Online Safety Act, how can you possibly sit there and go, oh, the government really want to protect the children? Absolutely, they do want to do that. When they want to start collecting data on minors. 13, 14, 15. In all countries in the UK, that's still considered a minor. You're still not considered an adult until you reach the age of 16 or 18, depending on which country in the UK you're in. How can you say they want to protect the children if they want to start collecting data from children and selling that on to third parties and doing whatever they want with it? It's like, you can't say X is a reformed thief, but he keeps writing in his journal every day about how he's going to totally steal all the food from everyone else in the prison cell. It doesn't work. One thing cannot be the other while the other thing is true. I don't know, but it's just, you get the point, right? They can't say they're trying to protect the children with one thing, and then completely fly in the face of that with another thing, and have both things be okay, and have both of them be completely legitimate. They don't care, they just want to survey you, they just want surveillance. That's the only goal here. Don't defend either practice. And here's the big thing about digital ID is, just like with the Online Safety Act, how he said, oh, it's to protect the children. It's not to protect the children. Digital ID is being implemented to, get this, stop illegal immigration. I'm not kidding. That's their justification.
There's a scientific explanation for that. You're thick. We're just idiots.
So because the government is so inept, so incompetent, so incapable of doing anything successfully, they're going to make you, or me, or any other British citizen that legally lives here suffer, essentially. They are punishing you because they cannot solve a problem. Now, the illegal immigration situation, that's not something that I feel qualified to talk about. That's not something that I believe I can give justice to. But I can tell you that introducing digital ID is not suddenly going to stop that. They say that the digital ID is to stop illegal immigration and stop human trafficking. We'll tackle the human trafficking one first because it's easier to talk about. With human trafficking, they say that by having a digital ID system in place and making it a legal requirement for an employer to check your digital ID, that will stop anyone from being, that will stop human trafficking.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind?
Let's have a think as a collective right now. If you apply for a job, what thing do you need to provide to your employer? Regardless of what job you go to, what do you need to provide right now that can be only tied to you, that is exclusive to you? There's a little thing called a national insurance number. They make the argument that right now, human trafficking can exist because national insurance number isn't enough to, provide anything. And digital ID, by asking for digital ID, that will make human trafficking go away. Let's think. Imagine you are someone who is partaking in human trafficking, okay? You are exploiting people. You are working people for way below minimum wage, if you're paying them at all. And suddenly, now there is a law that says you have to check digital IDs. But the law already states you have to check for national insurance numbers. If you weren't checking for a national insurance number before, are you, as a human trafficker, suddenly going to be like, oh well, I can't do human trafficking anymore because now I have to check the digital ID? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, you're just replacing one thing with another thing, and it's not going to change anything. Surveillance. That's what it's about. It's about surveillance. Let's go back to the illegal immigration thing, right? Now, like I said, regardless on your views on illegal immigration, whether you think the UK is fine to accept people in, or whether you think that we should be turning everyone away, not the focus of this discussion. That discussion is for someone else for another time. That's not what we're here to talk about. But the thing is, regardless of whether you are okay with it or you are not okay with it, the UK is a target for people to come across to. People like to come to the UK. And it's not just because, oh, the UK, we like the pretty colours on the flag or whatever, or it's in a really nice location geographically. No, it's quite frankly, it's because, let's think, people come over and they basically get handed a silver platter. Now again, to clarify, I am not saying this is a good or a bad thing. I'm not weighing in on that because I don't think it's my place. But regardless of your view, that is why people come over to the UK. They come for the silver platter. Because they come here, they get provided with things to rehabilitate themselves. They get people staying in expensive hotels, essentially for free. And again, not saying good or bad. But if you want to stop people coming over, you have to take that away. Again, whether you think illegal immigration being handled in that way, whether you think people getting the silver platter, getting the opportunities they do here, whether you think that's good or bad, is irrelevant right now. What is relevant is that you must be able to see whether you are far left, far right, completely neutral, regardless of your stance on immigration. You must be able to see that people coming from war-torn countries, seeing the silver platter that's being offered here, well, no shit they're gonna come over here. You can't be mad at them for coming over if they're being offered a silver platter. If someone offers you £1 million, no strings attached, you take it. It's the same situation here. And the easiest way to stop the migration is simply to take that away. If you're not willing to take that away, then the immigration issue is not going to get any different. It's going to stay the same. If you are saying people can come in and then provide them the silver platter, they're still going to come in. Digital ID is not going to change anything in that regard. And for people saying, oh, well, yeah, now they're going to have this. Well, you see, it's already illegal for any employer to hire an illegal immigrant. That's the current law before digital ID exists. So what will this change? It won't change anything. It's surveillance. It's like the Online Safety Act. They put a big buzzword in front of it so that the masses will be like, oh, okay then, this must be for the better of us. We need to protect children. We need to stop the immigration. It's like, no, it's not. It's not going to do anything. It's all about surveillance. It's a terrible idea. Just like the Online Safety Act, digital ID is a horrendously flawed idea. And I cannot believe how far we are falling. It's just absurd what this government is doing. It's like, whatever your stance on the Tories,
when they tried something tangentially related with COVID passports, they only used them as long as COVID was a real threat in the UK, being discontinued in 2022. They didn't put restrictions on everything, such as your ability to work and possibly your ability to access your money. They only put access restrictions on travel, really. which, to be honest, I feel like that was fair enough given the circumstances. And they didn't contain all of your personal ID like a digital ID will. So if it was hacked, it wasn't good, obviously, but it wasn't leaking all your personal information like a digital ID would. For as much as I have always said that Scotland should never go independent, because I genuinely don't trust the Scottish government to do anything. I don't think we would survive. That was always my stance. I have never supported the SNP because all they talk about is independence, and I have never once thought that it was a good idea. But see if John Swinney, who I'm also not a fan of, but see if he came out in Holyrood and just said, if you vote independence, we will do away with digital ID, we will do away with the Online Safety Act, I would start petitioning for Scottish independence. And that is something I never thought I would ever say. Sir Keir Starmer, the human rights lawyer, just love to chuck that in there, the human rights lawyer needs to be removed from office. His cabinet needs to go. And once again, because if you saw my Online Safety Act video, you know how much I love this particular man. Guess which department of government is responsible for digital ID? No, it couldn't be. Not the same department that's run by Peter Kyle. Oh no, it couldn't be, not him. He has never done anything questionable before, except for saying a particular, very, very infamous phrase. What was it again? Peter, can you remind us? What are we if we're on the side of, if we want the Online Safety Act revoked, what are we?
If you are against the Online Safety Act and want to overturn it, you are on the side of predators and paedophiles.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I guess if we oppose digital ID and want to overturn it, we are on the side of terrorists and slave owners, yeah? Okay, remember that, guys. You're on the side of predators, paedophiles, slave owners, terrorists, every other bad thing. We're all that because we don't want the government to be doing permanent surveillance on us. Ugh. This is just shocking, really. It's hilarious as well when you see Keir Starmer in an interview where he's asked about it. There are several, and the way this man just falls apart because he knows he's got nothing to say. There's not a thought going on in his head. There's nothing there. He's just going along with this horrendous idea because he's got no idea what to do. Genuinely, take a look, take a listen to this report, this interview that he did, and tell me if you honestly disagree with what I've just said.
If you really believe that those profiting from human trafficking will think, oh dear, I have to check your digital ID now, I can't carry on paying you £1.50 an hour to work in my sweatshop.
I'm absolutely convinced that amongst the reasons that people travel through France, which is a safe country, to come to the United Kingdom, amongst the reasons is because it's easier to work in our illegal economy than it is in other countries. And we have to deal with it.
Bosses who are prepared to hire people illegally are not asking them for their national insurance card. So what's the evidence? What makes you think they're suddenly going to ask them for a digital ID?
We need to be really clear. You must have ID, mandatory digital ID in order to work, because we have to stop illegal working. If you look at any of the raids, we've massively increased the number of raids on working premises. It is absolutely clear that people are working illegally in numbers.
But why do you think that them having a digital ID, having to have a digital ID, would stop that problem when right now people are meant to have a national insurance number and card, and if they're not asked for that, a boss is willing already to break the rules? What's the difference going to be?
Well, the difference is this is on point of starting, not a retrospective exercise as it now is. It is an automatic collection of the information by the government, so we know exactly who is working in our economy, and it will help us enforce the rules that are there. But there's no point people saying to me, why do we need it, when we all acknowledge there is a problem?
Yes, Starmer, we do all acknowledge there's a problem.
It's you!
You see what I mean, though? You see how he doesn't answer any question he's given? You see how he manages to avoid the question about 3 separate times? This is Keir Starmer's big
move as Prime Minister. This is his statement piece. This is what he will be remembered for. This is the act that he will be remembered for. He should be able to back this up easily. He should be able to back this up in his sleep. He should have 20 reasons already loaded in his mind, with another 50 sitting in the back in case all of those have been covered. But the fact that he has absolutely nothing to say, the fact that he just deflects the question being like, oh, well, you know, human trafficking, it's a major issue, we have to do something about it, it's so bad. It's like, that's not what you were asked. We know that human trafficking is an issue worldwide. You're being asked, how is digital ID going to stop that? And you don't give an answer? How can you possibly defend this moron? He can't even defend this big thing that's meant to be his defining act. Ugh, it's embarrassing. It's laughable how quickly he falls, how quickly he falls apart, how quickly he goes to deflection. And I know politicians are trained to deflect questions, right? Politicians will never give you a straight answer. But this is laughably bad deflection. Like, it's so obvious. It's so clear that he's got nothing. It's shameful. Truly shameful. The Labour Party sat for 14 years and I've got nothing to show for it. Is this what they were planning the whole time? Were they just like, oh, that idea Tony Blair had, that was great, let's do that, even though no one liked it back then? And you see people defending the digital ID being like, well, other countries have it. Yeah, take a look at how those other countries are doing. Take a look at Vietnam. Take a look at other countries with digital IDs. I believe it's Estonia that has them as well. Take a look and see how they're doing. It's not a good idea. You should boycott it. You should sign the petition. I know that they've ignored it. I know they've said they're gonna just go ahead with it. But like I said in the last video, if enough people are against this, they can't continue if they want to keep the seats. The government cares first and foremost about keeping their damn seats. They're not bothered about you, they're not bothered about me, they're not bothered about anything but their seats. Because if they have the seats, they have the power. And if they have the power, they can do whatever they want. So don't give them what they want. See this for what it is. A trick designed to fool the masses into thinking that something will be done about immigration, when it won't. Digital ID will not stop immigration, because it's already illegal to hire an illegal immigrant. People do it anyway. Digital ID will not change that. Human trafficking is illegal and you are meant to provide national insurance number for any job you apply for. If human trafficking is going on right now with national insurance number required, it's going to continue with digital ID encoded. People that are breaking the law willingly are not going to stop breaking the law because you slightly change it. The only way you're going to crack down on it is if you increase punishments for people that are doing it. Make it harder for people to do it. Introducing an arbitrary digital ID system isn't going to fix anything. It's not going to change human trafficking. If you want to stop illegal immigration, you have to stop giving them the silver platter. And like I said, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that's the reality. If the UK government really wanted to stop the illegal immigrants, they would stop offering the silver platter. I'm not saying that we have to turn away the boats and all that, right? But if you continue to give people the silver platter, they're going to continue taking it. And not everybody that's taking the silver platter is A, a good person, B, willing to contribute to any society, or C, a refugee fleeing a war-torn country. Just like in any part of the world, there are bad people that will exploit systems. There are people that are exploiting the silver platter. If digital IDs are introduced, there are people who will exploit it. Hacking is becoming more prevalent. It doesn't matter what they say. They could genuinely have the most advanced cybersecurity ever. Someone will still crack it. If you're an employer, there's going to be talks, the UK government say, they're going to talk to employers about this. I beg of you, if you are an employer,
don't allow this. If you are an employee, talk to your employer. Tell them your concerns, so that when the government does start talking to employers about this, your employer has got your best interest at heart. Let them know you don't want this. Write to your local MP if you have to. Complain about this. Get the message out there. Don't just blindly support it.
Listen to me!
Okay. So that's all. Said my piece. I apologise. This has been completely unscripted. I've just rambled for 20 minutes. I'm very tired. I'm very fed up of our government. And I have a lot of things to be doing. So I just wanted to get this out here. There's not a ton of editing. There's not a ton of fancy clips or anything. I had to say my piece on this. I had to get this out there. I had to let everyone know that they really should not support this in any way, shape or form. So, treat it like a podcast. Everybody likes a podcast, don't they? Treat it like a podcast with the occasional visual joke. But yes, in conclusion, don't support it. Continue using VPN to get around the Online Safety Act. Write to your MP, talk to your employer. If you are an employer, boycott this. Write to your MP if you have to. Sign the petition. Get Starmer out. Get Peter Kyle out. Someone in government, get the process started for a vote of no confidence. Starmer has the lowest public perception since records of polling began. If there was ever a time for a vote of no confidence, it is now. They cannot ignore us forever. Not if they want to keep those precious seats.
If you are against the Online Safety Act and want to overturn it, you are on the side of
Infinite boss fight! Infinite boss fight! Infinite boss fight!
Hello, I'm Pierre Starmer. Sometimes when I'm afraid, I have to be brave. Lots of people want me to
Abandon
Digital ID.
and win the game. But can I tell you a secret?
I'm absolutely convinced that the worst possible Prime Minister.
You're thick.
Pierre Starmer. Digital ID.
you are on the side of predators and paedophiles.
I'm absolutely convinced that the worst possible Prime Minister